পৃথ্বী জয়ছে ঘটকুলের কারণয় আশ্রয় জীবের নিদান তুমি তুমি সর্বাশ্রয়. As the earth is the original cause and shelter of all pots made of earth, so you are the ultimate cause and shelter of all living beings. This is the beginning of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. At the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's identity is being established. At the beginning, generally there is Mangalacharan that brings all auspiciousness. In any spiritual activity, when one initiates that activity, he begs the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, at the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are few verses that actually invoke that auspiciousness, and so the first verse is offering prayers to the spiritual master. Actually, it's been described in plural, not only one spiritual master, spiritual masters. Bande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Ishavatara Ishavatarakan. Gurun is a plural number. So this Guru is, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters. The spiritual masters are of three categories. They are Bhatma Pradarshak Guru, Diksha Guru, and Shiksha Guru. Bhatma Pradarshak, Bhatma means the path, and Pradarshak means the indicator. The one who indicates, or one who brings one to the path of devotional service, he is the Bhatma Pradarshak Guru. Then the initiating spiritual master, and then the instructing spiritual masters. So in this way, the concept of spiritual master is plural. So at the beginning, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is offering his obeisances to the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord, and the Lord's incarnations, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the first verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita is offering obeisances to them, so that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is hoping that he can execute this mission properly. Because it's only by the mercy of the devotees of the Lord, the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various incarnations. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. So he is begging for their mercy so that he can execute the mission properly. And then he is offering his respectful obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Bande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahudito Gauradaye Pushpavanto Chitrang Sando Tamonudo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are like the sun and the moon. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Saho Udito. So generally sun and moon rise separately. When the sun sets, the moon rise. But the peculiar aspect of this sun and moon is they have risen simultaneously. Saho udito. Simultaneously they have appeared. Who are like the sun and moon who have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gaura to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benedictions upon all. The third verse is actually being discussed in this chapter that we are discussing now. Jad advaitang brahmopanishadi tadapyasya tanubha ja atmantarjami purusha iti so ashangsha vibhava sharai sharjai purna jaiha bhagavan sa swayam ayam na chaitannat krishnat jagati paratattang param iha. So in this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's identity is being established. Who is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Whom the Upanishads describe as the Brahma Jyoti, Brahma. What the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body. What Upanishads describe as Brahma Jyoti is the bodily effulgence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Lord known as the Super Soul is but his localized plenary portion. And the Super Soul who is situated in everyone's heart, he is the localized aspect of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Paramatma is the localized aspect of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. Sharai Sharja Purna Ja Iha Bhagavan Swa Swayam Ayam. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, who is endowed with 6 opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater than or equal to him. So, in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's identity is being established, just as in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 2nd chapter also, Krishna's identity has been established. Who remembers that verse? Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, who are Badanti Tat Tattvavidas Tattvam Jajganam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdati. The Supreme Absolute Truth, Badanti Tat Tattvavidas Tattvam. Those who are knower of that Absolute Truth, they describe that Absolute Truth. How do they describe that Absolute Truth? Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdati. They describe him as Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The same Absolute Truth, who is who is one without a second, who doesn't have anyone equal to him and who doesn't have anyone superior to him. That's supreme. That's the definition of supreme, according to the Vedas. Asama, Asamordha. Asama and Urdha. No one is equal to him and no one is superior to him. That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the 3rd verse of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that point has been established here in this chapter, in the 2nd chapter that we are discussing of Adi-lila. That has been, that is the main object of discussion. And in course of the discussion, one point has been established about Krishna's identity. First, it is being established that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then it has been established that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that Krishna himself. In Bhagavatam, time and time again, that point has been established. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, 24 different incarnations have been established or described, and then it has been mentioned that there are innumerable incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as there are innumerable waves in an ocean, just as innumerable rivers come out of the ocean and then merge back into the ocean, similarly, all these incarnations are emanating from Krishna. Ete changsha kalapungsha. These are angsas and kalas. These are the parts and parts of the parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna is the Supreme Original Personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And in this respect, another incidents have brought in is that Brahma couldn't recognize Krishna. In the 10th canto, Brahma Bimohan Lila, Brahma's bewilderment has been described. Brahma, the most exalted personality in this universe, even he couldn't recognize Krishna. When Krishna is performing his pastimes as a little child in Vrindavan, Brahma couldn't recognize Krishna. It so happened that morning Krishna went out to tend the cows and calves. Calves, actually. Krishna was only about 5 years old at that time. And at the age of 5, they get the chance to start tending the calves. And then when they grow up a little, then they get to tend the cows. So Krishna, along with his friends, were tending the calves. They went to the forest. They were going to the forest. And through the forest, when they were going, they saw a huge cave, what appeared to be like a huge cave. But it was actually Aghasura, one of the accomplices of Kamsa, who came to kill Krishna and Balaram along with Krishna, actually, because that day Balaram was not there. That particular day was Balaram's birthday. Therefore, Mother Rohini decided to keep Balaram at home to celebrate his birthday. So that day Balaram was not there, and along with all the cowherd boys, Krishna went to tend the cows, tend the calves, and they actually, and Aghasura, these demons are actually endowed with mystic power, the Yoga Siddhi. And as a result of the Yoga Siddhi, they get and they have the ability to transform themselves into any form. They can become very small, at the same time they can also become very big. These are the Siddhis. Anima becomes very small. And Garima, they become very big. Mohima Siddhi. Then they can become very heavy, they can become very light. All these abilities they acquire through their mystic power. So this Aghasura Aghasura achieved these mystic powers. And he assumed the form of a python, of a snake. And he was lying on the way where the cowherd boys would be passing by. And his idea was that these boys will, out of curiosity, would enter into his mouth and then he will swallow them along with Krishna. So Aghasura was lying on the way with his mouth wide open, and the cowherd boys, they are only 5-6 years old. Almost 6 years. all the boys were practically junior to Krishna. And Krishna was 5 years, some months at that time. And Krishna and cowherd boys saw that. The cowherd boys became curious that, that looks like a new cave that we never explored before. We never seen this cave before. So they decided to go inside. And they all went inside that mouth of Aghasura. And Krishna could recognize that this was a demon. And Krishna could understand his agenda, that he came to kill him and the cowherd boys. Now the cowherd boys all have entered into Aghasura's mouth. So Krishna was wondering what to do. They have already entered into his mouth, along with the calves. So Krishna decided to enter into his mouth also. And Aghasura was waiting when Krishna will enter. And as soon as Krishna entered in his mouth, Aghasura just closed his mouth, thinking of killing them. But then Krishna expanded himself into such a large form that he not only got stuck in Aghasura's throat, Aghasura couldn't swallow Krishna anymore. And Krishna generated an inconceivable heat from his body. And as a result of that, Aghasura started to writhe in pain. And now he couldn't swallow Krishna, he couldn't spill Krishna out, and Krishna got stuck in his throat and he was dying. And all the holes of his body was blocked in this way. So finally Aghasura's soul came out of his Brahmarandhra, from his brain center. This is how actually the yogis leave their body. The Aghasura also is a yogi. But this is an indication that becoming perfect, achieving perfection of yoga cannot be the ultimate goal of life. Even the demons have yoga siddhis. So why should anybody want to have yoga siddhi? The ultimate goal of life is actually to become a devotee of Krishna. If you are not a devotee of Krishna but achieve the yoga siddhis, what's the use? You just end up becoming a demon, like Aghasura. So Aghasura's soul left through his Brahmarandhra. And then it was hovering on the space. And then as Krishna came out of his mouth, then Aghasura's soul merged into Krishna's body. So Brahma at that time was flying through the sky on his swan carrier. And Brahma saw this amazing sight, that this little boy, 5-year-old boy, killed this demon who was such a terrible demon that even the demigods used to tremble with fear just by hearing his name. He was practically inconceivable, invincible. Nobody could kill him, nobody could defeat him. He was so powerful. And this little boy, Krishna, killed him so easily. And not only that, then Aghasura's soul came and merged into his body. So Brahma began to wonder, is this Narayan, my Lord and Master? So Brahma wanted to find out who this personality is. He started to suspect that this must be my Lord and Master, Narayan himself. And then he followed Krishna. And then he saw Krishna along with his friends came to the bank of Jamuna, and there they let the calves graze in the pasturing ground, and they all sat down on the bank of Jamuna. They pulled out all their foodstuff that they brought from home, and they started to have a picnic. And while they were having the picnic, they were having an unique exchange. like some boys, when they liked something, the taste of something that he brought with him, after eating it, after biting onto it, when he found that the taste was so nice, he offered it to Krishna and said, Krishna, see, this is delicious. Please try it out. And Krishna also just took that food himself. And sometimes some boy saw that something on Krishna's plate that looked very delicious, so he stole that from his plate and started to eat it. And Krishna was responding saying, hey, why did you do that? Why did you take it from me? Like, the boy actually told Krishna, Krishna, look at the bird there. And when Krishna looked there, he took the food stuff from his plate. So that completely bewildered Brahma. In one hand, Brahma was thinking that this boy probably is my Lord and Master Narayan. But then Brahma saw the kind of exchange he was having with his boyfriends, cowherd boyfriends. It was completely inconceivable, because Narayan will not take anybody's remnants. Because juta means contaminated. Remnant means contaminated. Now everybody can have Narayan's remnants. But who can ever offer his remnants to Narayan? And here, these boys were doing that and stealing food from Narayan's plate. Brahma was completely bewildered. This cannot be Narayan. But at the same time, Brahma couldn't figure out that who else then he can be. Then Brahma decided to play a trick. So Brahma decided to steal the calves. So he stole all the calves. And then Krishna, while having their breakfast or picnic, along with the friends, all of a sudden noticed that none of the cows are on sight. None of the calves are on sight. And so they became very worried. Where did the calves go all of a sudden? So they all were about to just get up and go look for the calves. So Krishna said, don't go. You all carry on with your picnic. I will go and see. They may have gone inside the forest. Then Krishna went to look for the calves, and in the meantime, Brahma stole all the cowherd boys and took them into a cave and put them there unconscious, made them fall asleep, and kept them there, and he just blocked the mouth of that cave with a boulder, with a big stone. And as Brahma turned around, he saw that all the calves are grazing on the field, and all the cowherd boys are there along with Krishna. Krishna is sitting in the middle and having picnic. Actually, what happened is when Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys, then when Krishna came back, he found that now the cowherd boys are also gone. So Krishna began to wonder what actually happened. And then Krishna, with his mystic power, with his inconceivable spiritual potency, Krishna could see what happened. Krishna can see everything. He can see past, present and future. And he could see that Brahma actually stole the cowherd boys and the calves. Therefore, Krishna expanded himself into all the cowherd boys and into all the calves. Now for Brahma, it took just one moment to put the cowherd boys onto the cave along with the calves, and when he turned around, it took him just one moment according to his calculation. But one moment of Brahma, according to the earthly calculation, is 1 year. So 1 year actually went by when Brahma looked around, and he found the same sight. What actually happened? that Krishna expanded himself into the cowherd boys and into the calves, and for 1 year he played with them, and all these cowherd boys and calves were actually Krishna's own expansion. And when Brahma looked back, it was the same day, the day of Balaram's appearance. And that's why Balaram was not there on that day. Actually, if Balaram was there, then Brahma would have been in trouble. Anyway, these are all Krishna's pastimes. So Brahma looked back and he saw the same sight, same scene. Therefore, Brahma actually decided, then Brahma noticed that actually all these cowherd boys are Narayan. Brahma knew of only one Narayan. And here he is saying hundreds of Narayans, thousands of Narayans. All the cowherd boys are actually Narayan. So this is how Brahma realized that this Krishna is not just Narayan, but the origin of all Narayans. Brahma didn't know about many Narayans before, but it became clear to him now that there is not only one Narayan, there are innumerable Narayans. And all those Narayans are expansions of Krishna. Like, I'll just go through this portion. So Brahma is actually praying to Krishna after he recognized him as the origin of Narayan. Not just Narayan, but he is the origin of Narayan. I'll just read the English translation. O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not therefore my father, Narayan? Narayan refers to one whose abode is in the water, born from Nara, Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And that Narayan is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and are not creations of Maya. So this portion has been described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He is elaborating on that verse. He is saying, after Brahma had offended Krishna by stealing his playmates and cows, he begged the Lord's pardon and his offensive act, and prayed for his offensive act, and prayed for the Lord's mercy. Brahma told, I took birth from the lotus that grew from your navel. Thus, you are both my father and my mother, and I am your son. Parents never take seriously the offenses of their children. I therefore beg your pardon and ask for your benediction. Sri Krishna then said, O Brahma, your father is Narayan. I am but a cowherd boy. How can you be my son? Then Brahma replied, are you not Narayan? You are certainly Narayan. Please listen as I state the proofs. All the living beings within the material and spiritual worlds are ultimately born of you, for you are the supersoul of them all. And then it comes to this particular verse that we are discussing today. I'll repeat the previous verse. All the living beings within the material and spiritual worlds are ultimately born of you, for you are the supersoul of them all. As the earth is the original cause and shelter of all pots made of earth, so you are the ultimate cause and shelter of all living beings. So he's giving the analogy, just all the pots are made from the earth. All the pots that are there in this planet, in this planet, they all are made of clay. So the earth or clay is the origin of all the pots. So similarly, you are the origin of all the living entities. All the living entities have come from you. So in this way, at the beginning of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here we have to understand that what is being established is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the origin of all incarnations. He is not an avatara. He is not an avatar, but he is an avatari. He is the origin of all incarnations. So in this way, right at the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's identity has been established, and then the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance has been established. Those have been established in the next three verses. Verse 4th, 5th and 6th of Adi-lila, chapter 1. The first verse described that he has come to distribute something that had never been given before. Anarpito charing chirat korunaya avatirna khalo samorpoito unnato jalo rasan sabhakti shriyam. He has come to distribute his own devotion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come, who is Krishna himself, has come to distribute his own devotion. Not only devotion, the devotion in the highest order. There are different categories of devotion. But what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give is the devotion of the highest order. But then it has been pointed out that that is the external purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. There is an internal reason of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Why Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Yeah, the internal reason is that he came accepting the mood of devotion to distribute Krishna consciousness to the people of the age of Kali. But what is the internal reason? There is another reason of his coming. That is, Krishna wanted to recognize, Krishna wanted to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani's love. He wanted to understand what is there in him that Radharani is so attracted to him. By loving him, what kind of joy does Srimati Radharani experience? And why does Radharani want to Radharani becomes attracted to him in this way? That verse goes like, Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mohima Kidrisha. Pranaya Mohima, what is the glory, what is the extent of Srimati Radharani's love for him? Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mohima Kidrisha. Banai Vashadya Janadbhuta Madhurima Kidrisha Va Modiya. What is there in me that Radharani is so attracted to? Krishna considers that Radharani is so attractive. And what is there in him that attracts Srimati Radharani? And Shokhanchasya Madanubhavato Kidrisha. By loving me, what kind of joy, what kind of sukha, what kind of joy Srimati Radharani experiences? He wanted to understand these three things. And in order to understand these three things, he appeared. Just as moon appeared from the milk ocean, Sri Chaitanya Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared from the womb of Mother Sachi. So these are the two reasons of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna's appearance as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one external, one internal. And even the external consideration that giving devotion, not only giving devotion, the devotion in the most elevated and most brilliant form. Joy, madhurja, ujjala, rasa. Anarpito choring chirat, anarpito, which had never been given before. A kind of loving relationship, the kind of devotion that had never been given before. Anarpito choring chirat. Never actually here means for a long, long time. Not never. In the previous day of Brahma, it was given once. Before another 1,000 Chaturjugas before, this was once offered to the mankind in the age of Kali. So after an incredibly long period of time, it is being offered again. Anarpita choring chirat. And in order to give that, in order to bestow that mercy, Korunaya avatirna kalu. Very mercifully, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared. And what is that? That inconceivable wealth as opulence. Samarpoitum unnato ujjalo rashang shabhukti shriyam. Shri means wealth. This is the wealth of his own devotion. Krishna came to give his own devotion in the most elevated and in the most brilliant form. Madhurja ujjala rasam. Unnato ujjala rasam. Unnato means most elevated and ujjala means most brilliant. Why most elevated? There are 5 kinds of devotion in 5 different mellows. Santa, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhur. And of these, Dasya is superior to Shanta, more elevated than Shanta. Then Sakhya is more elevated than Dasya. Vatsalya is more elevated than Sakhya. And Madhurja, the conjugal loving relationship, is the most elevated of all the loving relationships. And Ujjala, it is not only the Madhurja, the most elevated one, but among that, in that, the most brilliant. Madhurja also are of 2 kinds, or rather Madhurja also is of 2 kinds. One is Swakya and Parakya. Madhurja means conjugal loving relationship. The relationship like that of between a man and a woman, apparently. But this loving relationship between man and woman can be of 2 kinds. One is through formal marriage, they can have a loving relationship. Another one is through out of simple love for each other, without any social consideration. Now, in the loving relationship, especially with Krishna, it is considered that the Parakya, where the social consideration is not there, is superior to Shakya. So therefore, this is the Unnato Ujjala Rashan. So this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to distribute this most elevated, most exalted, most brilliant loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which had never been given before. Another consideration here is the devotional services of 2 kinds, Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti is the devotional service that is executed following the rules and regulations of the scriptures. Vidhi, Shastra Vidhi. And the Raganuga is no consideration of Shastra Vidhi as such, but simply out of love. That love, the loving impetus or the impulse becomes so deep that one cannot really resist it. He just becomes attracted to Krishna simply out of his love for him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give that loving relationship, Raganuga Bhakti. Therefore, this is Anarpita. generally in other ages, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga and Dapur Yuga, devotional service that is executed is following the rules and regulations of the scripture. It is only through, it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who actually gave the Raganuga Bhakti. It is there, but it was not so easily available. But what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, he offered it to the people of the age of Kali. In the age of Kali, people are most degraded. Now he offered the highest spiritual wealth to the people, those who are completely degraded, those who are absolutely fallen, those who are completely miserable, hopeless. So this is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is the point that has been established right at the beginning of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the same point has been again established time and time again in various ways in course of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. The most wonderful way that he had done that is through his discussion with Ramananda Roy. Step by step, he actually established the supremacy of the loving relationship of the gopis in Vrindavan for Krishna. So that also has been established as the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. And this has been described as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to establish the fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Which Krishna? The Krishna of Vrindavan. The Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Here comes another consideration. There are two Krishnas. Son of Vasudeva and son of Nanda Maharaj. Son of Vasudeva and Devaki. And this has been pointed out, Krishna Anna Jadu Sambhuta. That Krishna who appeared in the Jadu dynasty is another Krishna. But the real Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, he never steps out of Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parittajya kutra kadapi na gacchati. He never steps out of Vrindavan. Then one may question, but Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura and kill Kamsa, and then went to Dwarka. So this has been again pointed out. Remember, in the 10th canto, it has been described that when Akrura came to take Krishna and Balaram to Mathura, then Krishna, and the border of Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram went to take bath in Jamuna. At that time, do you remember that Akrura saw Krishna in his forehand form? So when Krishna and Balaram went to take bath, at that time, Krishna and Balaram went back to Vrindavan. And Vasudev Krishna then came and sat on the chariot. And Nandanandan Krishna went back to Vrindavan. So who Akrura took is Vasudev Krishna. And this Vasudev Krishna, when Vasudev brought Krishna after his birth to the house of Nanda Maharaj, actually it was dark and Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev could not see the son of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj, Mother Jashoda gave birth to two children, one boy and one girl. And Nanda Maharaj, in Nanda Maharaj's house, Vasudev came, and when he placed the child, that Vasudev Krishna merged into Nandanandan Krishna. In the darkness, he didn't see the Krishna. He just saw the girl and picked up the girl and went away. And this Vasudev Krishna, who is there in Krishna's body already, he came out and sat on the chariot. And not only Vasudev Krishna is there in Krishna's body, all the incarnations are there in Krishna's body, because Krishna is the origin of all incarnations. So the Goswamis have very elaborately explained these points. So, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making that point. What is the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Aradha Bhagavan Brajeshu Tanai. The supreme worshipable personality of Godhead is Brajeshu Tanai, the son of Brajendra Nandan, son of Brajaraj Nanda Maharaj. And Stadhama Vrindavanam, he is emphatically pointing out that his dham, his abode is Vrindavan. And Ramma Kachid Upashana Brajabodhu Bargena Jakulpita. The way the cowherd damsels served him, the way the cowherd themselves express their devotion to him, that is the highest form of devotion. Ramma Kachid Upashana Brajabodhu Bargena Jakulpita. And Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. The spotless Puran Srimad Bhagavatam is the proof. And Prema Pumartha Mahan. To develop that love for Krishna is the ultimate goal of life. Prema Pumartha Mahan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradara Naparaha. This is the conclusion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just accept that. There is no need to accept anything else. So, this point has been established time and time again, that whatever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established, what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach us, that Krishna of Vrindavan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The way the gopis worshipped him, that's the highest form of worship. And of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani's devotion to Krishna is of the highest. And the same point has been established when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing with Ramananda Rai. Step by step he took that. The same point has been established by Srila Sanatana Goswami through his Brihad Bhagavatamrita in two parts. Sanatana Goswami very elaborately explained these teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gradually taking us from one platform to another platform of devotion. We can briefly consider what came out of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's discussion with Ramananda Rai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Rai in the bank of Godavari in Kobhur, and they are discussing. Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking questions and Ramananda Rai is answering. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, what's the goal of life? Ramananda. What is the ultimate goal of life? Then Ramananda Rai said, to practice Varnashram is the ultimate goal of life. And he quotes from the scriptures, Varnashrama charavata purushena parappuman. Nannang aradhate pantha tattosha. Nainang tatta Vishnur aradhate pantha nanna tattosha karana. That he's saying, quoting scriptures, Padma Puran, that Varnashram is the ultimate goal of life. And there is no other way to please Vishnu. But Mahaprabhu rejects that. He says that's external consideration. Tell me what's beyond that. Tell me something which is higher. Then Ramananda Rai speaks about karma jog, karma mishra bhakti. Jat karosi, jadasnasi, jat juhosi, dadasi jat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that also. That's also external. Tell me something that's beyond that. Then he is speaking about karma tag. First he spoke about karma jog, now he's speaking about karma tag. And he quotes from Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Mahaprabhu rejected that also. That's also external. Tell me what's beyond that. Then he speaks about Jnana Yoga. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakting lavate param. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that also. Mad bhakting lavate param. Although this verse is saying that one achieves my transcendental devotion at this point, in that Brahma bhuta, when one becomes Brahma bhuta, Prasannatma. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that also. The external. Tell me what's beyond that. Then Ramananda Rai mentions about pure devotional service. Anna bhilashita sunnam jnana karmad anabritam anukullena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttam. When there is no other desire but to simply serve Krishna and please Krishna. Giving up even the karma mishra, karma yoga and jnana yoga. Jnana karmad anabritam. That is pure devotional service, Bhakti Ruttama. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted that. Yes, that's right. Tell me what's beyond that. Then he described about devotional service in Shantaras, devotional service in Dasyaras, devotional service in Sakhyaras, devotional service in Vatsalyaras. And Mahaprabhu was accepting one after another. Yes, that's right. Tell me what's beyond that. Now after Vatsalya he came and mentioned about Madhurjaras, devotional service in conjugal mela. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, that's right. Now tell me what's beyond that. Ramananda Rai said that I didn't know that anyone can ask what is beyond that. Now you are making me ask the questions and you are also empowering me to answer the questions. So if you empower me, then probably I'll be able to answer that question. And then Ramananda Rai explained that there is the way the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis, loved Krishna. That's the highest form of devotion. And then he mentioned that Krishna was dancing rasa dance with 16,000 gopis. There was one Krishna between two gopis. But in the center, single Krishna was dancing with single girl. So that must be very special. That gopi must have been very special. And then, when that gopi got upset and she left the Rasa Mandali, Krishna left all 16,000 gopis and followed her. So she must be very special. So in this way he established that this particular gopi must be very, very special. Who is this gopi? Anaya Radhita Nunang Bhagavan Haririshara. So this is the gopi who is most expert in Aradhana. So that is Srimati Radharani. The same point has been established by Srila Sanatana Goswami through his Brihad Bhagavatamrita, as I mentioned. So this is how we can see that what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave is absolutely unique. And we are very fortunate that we have received it. We are very fortunate that we have been born in this planet in the age of Kali. We have been born after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have been born after Srila Prabhupada came and distributed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy all over the world. And we are so fortunate that by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada's devotees, we have received this most rare spiritual wealth. That is rare even for Lord Brahma. That's rare even for Lord Shiva. What to speak of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, it's rare even for Lakshmi Devi. So that as wonderful spiritual asset has become available to us irrespective of our eligibility and qualification. Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Premanande Hari. Does anybody have any question or comment?